So our next speaker today is Emily Christie from the Fraser Valley region.
The tower looks like something from out of a dream, an imposter in a modern city. It is tall and looming, such as the other skyscrapers around it, but its lush green vegetation makes it stand out, giving a whole new meaning to the phrase concrete jungle. When you stand before it and tilt your head upwards, all you can see is produce climbing floor after floor. Somehow, humanity has managed to create a farm in the very center of the city. Good afternoon, honorable judges, sir chairperson, and fellow 4-H members. No matter who you are or where you come from, there is one thing that unites us all: our reliance on farms and farming to provide food for ourselves and for our families. However, with the global population expected to exceed 9 billion people by the year 2050, our food production will need to increase dramatically by over 70% in order to facilitate these new needs. Some people believe that vertical farming could be the solution to this problem. So today I will tell you a little bit about what vertical farming is, its effects on the environment, and whether or not it has the potential to be successful. My hope is that by the end of my speech, you'll have a better idea of what vertical farming is and whether or not it can be a solution to this global problem. First, I begin by telling you a little bit about what vertical farming is. Vertical farming is the act of growing produce stacked one on top of the other in vertical layers. You stack the produce in this way as it allows the farmer to maximize the crop yield over a smaller area. The stacking is made possible thanks to the usage of soilless growing methods such as hydroponics, aeroponics, and aquaponics. These alternative growing methods also help to increase the crop yield as you are able to grow a multitude of different crops at once. It also allows you to grow crops out of their natural season and all year round. Vertical farms also utilize controlled environment agriculture technology. Basically, this is a fancy way of saying that all the natural factors that could affect the plants, such as air, temperature, light, water, humidity, carbon dioxide, and plant nutrition, are all artificially controlled. This increases crop yield as you are able to maintain the crops at their ideal conditions. This brings me to my second topic of vertical farming's effects on the environment. As I stated previously, the main goal of vertical farming is to increase the crop yield over a smaller area. This is absolutely crucial for environmental sustainability. It is estimated that over the last 40 years, approximately 1/3 of Earth's arable land has been lost as a result of industrial development and urbanization. Therefore, if we have any hope of sustaining our population in the future, we'll have to take a close look at how we can best utilize what we have left. Vertical farms can also be integrated into recycled buildings, which preserves even more space, taking a building that wouldn't otherwise be used and turning it into a valuable resource for the community. Vertical farms aren't even limited to traditional buildings. These systems can be integrated into shipping containers, underground tunnels, and even abandoned mine shafts. Vertical farms have other benefits for the environment as well. For example, they provide 95% less They use 95% less water than traditional farms and also reduce fuel emissions as they are located closer to the center of the city, cutting down on transportation and eliminate the need for traditional farm machinery. However, the effects of vertical farming on the environment are not only positive. Vertical farms have very high energy requirements, and if non-renewable energy is used to meet these needs, they will produce far more pollution than traditional farms. Using solar panels to power vertical farms has been considered, but in order to reach the amount of energy required, the surface area of the solar panels would have to exceed that of the facility by over 20 times, making it a rather impractical solution. Finally, I will talk a little bit about whether vertical farming has the potential to be successful. The biggest problem facing vertical farming is the high cost of building and maintaining these systems. It is estimated that to build a 60-hectare vertical farm, it would cost around $100 million. It would take this farm about 6 to 7 years to break even with these expenses, and that's only the beginning of the costs. Because vertical farms are meant to be located close to the center of the city, they also have to contend with high office occupancy rates. But the even bigger problem is energy expenses. Heating alone would cost around $200,000 per hectare. Then you have to factor in lighting, plumbing, as well as paying the workers' salaries. By the time all is said and done, the only way that a vertical farm can be financially successful is to focus on producing high-value crops. It is impossible for a vertical farm to compete with traditional farming when it comes to producing low-value crops, which traditional farms can create at a much lower expense and charge far cheaper for. In conclusion, today we have looked at what vertical farming is, its effects on the environment, and whether or not it has the potential to be successful. Perhaps vertical farming could be the solution to feeding our growing population. However, if we have any hope of making it a feasible and practical solution, we're going to have to put a lot more effort into refining this process to make it more accessible and able to compete in the marketplace. However, even if vertical farming alone is not the answer to this problem, it does show us just how far farming has come. Perhaps we're entering a new era where we as a civilization are closer to our food, where people living in major cities will no longer have such a gap between the food on their store shelves and the source in which it comes from. Hopefully, these people too will get to enter the agricultural industry and learn what it truly takes to nurture and grow the food that's on their plates. Now, I ask you once again to imagine the skyscraper, filled up with enough food to feed hundreds of thousands. Will this tower stand alone? Will it reign an anomaly? Or will these massive skyscrapers spread to all the major cities of the world and finally bring farming to everyone?